Throughout human history, across continents and cultures, separated by vast oceans and impassable mountains, a curious pattern emerges. From the sands of Jerusalem to the temples of Tibet, from ancient Mesopotamia to pre-Columbian America, we find stories of saviors, divine beings destined to rescue humanity from darkness. The Star of Bethlehem, guiding 3 wise men from the east to witness the birth of Jesus Christ. A massive caravan crossing deserts and mountains, following celestial signs to find a promised Messiah. But this phenomenon isn't isolated to Christianity alone. Buddhism awaits Maitreya, Islam anticipates the Mahdi, and Hindu texts foretell the coming of Kalki. These figures, emerging from vastly different geographical and cultural contexts, share startlingly similar characteristics. Is this merely coincidence, or does it hint at something deeper in our collective consciousness? Perhaps a shared memory from our distant past. To understand the phenomenon of universal Messiah figures, we must first turn to our origins. Modern science tells us that Homo sapiens emerged from a single point in Africa. The out-of-Africa theory, supported by fossil records, archaeological findings, and genetic markers, reveals that approximately 70,000 years ago, our ancestors began their migration from the African continent. Mitochondrial DNA research shows that all non-African human populations can be traced back to a single genetic lineage, supporting the model of a unified origin point before global dispersal. This scientific consensus brings forward a profound question. If we all descended from the same small group of ancestors, could our shared religious archetypes, particularly the Messiah figure, stem from a common memory or understanding that predates our dispersion across the globe? These parallels in savior narratives aren't exclusive to the major religions we know today. They represent a widespread cultural phenomenon present in early human civilizations, reflecting a universal longing for ultimate redemption and an ideal world. But why would such diverse cultures independently develop such similar concepts of a savior figure? Cycles dominate our universe. Stars orbit galactic centers. Galaxies themselves revolve around larger galactic clusters. Life follows the inevitable pattern of birth, growth, decline, and death. Even economic systems demonstrate cyclical behaviors of prosperity and recession. Could human civilization itself follow a similar cosmic rhythm? The Hindu concept of Yugas describes a repeating cycle of 4 ages: Satya Yuga, truth, perfection; Treta Yuga, partial decline; Dvapara Yuga, further deterioration; and Kali Yuga, darkness, ignorance. According to these ancient texts, each complete cycle spans 4,320,000 years, with our present Kali Yuga believed to have begun around 3102 BCE. These aren't merely abstract philosophical concepts. When we examine the archaeological record, we find evidence of advanced civilizations that flourished and mysteriously vanished. Sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, dated to approximately 9600 BCE, challenge our understanding of prehistoric human capabilities with their sophisticated monolithic structures and astronomical alignments. Could these be remnants of previous cycles of human achievement? And if civilization does follow cyclical patterns, what forces drive these cycles of advancement and collapse? Approximately 12,800 years ago, Earth experienced an abrupt and dramatic climate shift known as the Younger Dryas. Temperatures plummeted rapidly, returning much of the northern hemisphere to near-glacial conditions for over 1,000 years. Recent evidence supports the hypothesis that this sudden change was triggered by a cosmic impact, fragments of a comet or asteroid striking Earth. The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis points to geological markers including nanodiamonds, platinum anomalies, and microscopic iron spherules found in sediment layers across multiple continents. At Göbekli Tepe, Pillar 43, known as the Vulture Stone, appears to record this catastrophic event through symbolic carvings that align with zodiac constellations visible at that time. Statistical analysis suggests there is less than a 1 in 5 million chance that these astronomical alignments are coincidental. This cosmic trauma coincides with the disappearance of megafauna and the mysterious Clovis culture in North America. Could this catastrophe have reset human civilization, wiping away advanced societies and leaving only fragments of knowledge to be preserved by survivors? Is it possible that flood myths found in over 200 cultures worldwide, from Mesopotamian epics to biblical accounts, from Hindu Puranas to Native American traditions, all stem from these actual catastrophic events? If civilization indeed follows cycles of rise and catastrophic fall, how would crucial knowledge survive these transitions? The answer might lie in the universal Messiah archetype. Comparative religious studies reveal striking similarities between savior figures across diverse traditions. They share common characteristics. They are prophesied or promised before their birth. Their advent is accompanied by celestial signs like comets or unusual star alignments. What if Messiah figures aren't merely spiritual concepts? They appear during periods of societal decline. They champion nonviolence and spiritual transformation, and they promise eventual return. The Review of Religion's journal documents 16 specific parallels between Jesus Christ and other messianic figures, including their births being separated from previous prophets by approximately 1,260 to 1,270 years. Could these messianic narratives serve as vehicles for preserving crucial astronomical knowledge and warnings about cosmic cycles? Consider the Star of Bethlehem, variously interpreted as a comet, planetary conjunction, or supernova. Astronomical retrocalculations suggest several celestial candidates around 5 to 4 BCE that could explain this phenomenon. What if Messiah figures aren't merely spiritual concepts, but encoded warnings about cosmic timekeeping? Perhaps they represent a sophisticated cultural mechanism designed to preserve critical knowledge through dark ages, protecting information about astronomical cycles that might otherwise be lost during civilization collapses. Some researchers propose a more controversial interpretation of humanity's messianic traditions, one involving non-human intervention in our development. Zecharia Sitchin's analysis of ancient Sumerian texts suggests that beings called the Anunnaki visited Earth from a distant planet and genetically modified early hominids to create modern humans. While mainstream archaeology and genetics reject these claims, they've captivated public imagination and inspired alternative interpretations of ancient texts. The ancient astronaut theory points to puzzling archaeological anomalies like the precision-cut stones at Pumapunku in Bolivia, the massive trilithons at Baalbek in Lebanon weighing over 800 tons, and the complex astronomical knowledge encoded in ancient monuments worldwide. Francis Crick, co-discoverer of DNA's structure, once hypothesized directed panspermia, the possibility that microbial life might have been intentionally sent to Earth by advanced extraterrestrial intelligence. These perspectives raise profound questions. What if the gods described in ancient texts were actually advanced beings from beyond Earth? Could Messiah figures represent a promised return of these entities? Or, alternatively, do these myths reflect our psychological tendency to externalize complex natural phenomena through anthropomorphic storytelling? The boundary between extraordinary evidence and extraordinary claims remains contested ground. Throughout human evolutionary history, periods of extreme climate change have repeatedly transformed our environment and challenged our survival. The Younger Dryas event around 12,800 years ago brought sudden cooling. The Black Sea deluge approximately 7,600 years ago submerged vast inhabited lands at a rate of 6 inches per day. These catastrophes didn't merely reshape geography, they potentially reset civilization itself. In these darkest moments, how did humanity preserve its accumulated knowledge? Ancient megaliths like Göbekli Tepe, with its precise astronomical alignments, suggest sophisticated methods of encoding information in stone, built to withstand millennia of natural destruction. The recurring Messiah archetype might represent another preservation mechanism, embedding crucial cosmological knowledge within memorable narratives passed through generations. These stories, with their promises of return and renewal, provided both practical information and psychological hope. When examining religious texts closely, we find surprising astronomical and mathematical precision. The concept of messiahs returning after specific time intervals, 490 years in Daniel's prophecy, 1,260 days in Revelation, may encode astronomical cycles crucial for long-term prediction. The motivation seems clear. During civilization's darkest moments, these knowledge preservation systems maintained a flame of wisdom that could reignite progress once conditions improved. Is it possible that we're still beneficiaries of this ancient knowledge transmission system today? According to classical comparative textual studies, the existence of Jesus as a historical figure is widely accepted, at least among adherents of Christianity. What's particularly fascinating is the universal expectation that a Messiah figure will inevitably return in the distant future. The logic follows that if prophesied appearances materialized in the past, then future prophecies must likewise come to fruition. For believers across traditions, this provides rational emotional support during times of hardship. The anticipation of a Messiah's return sustains religious institutions, providing ongoing value and psychological support to adherents through generations. When exactly this messianic return might occur becomes almost irrelevant. The hope itself becomes the sustaining force. But this pattern reveals something profound about human consciousness and our relationship with time. Whether viewed as literal prophecy or psychological archetype, the Messiah concept serves as a bridge between our understanding of cyclical patterns and our linear experience of history. It resolves the cognitive dissonance between what we observe in natural systems, cycles of birth, death, and renewal, and our progressive technological development. Perhaps most intriguing is the possibility that these traditions contain fragments of actual astronomical knowledge regarding cosmic cycles that affect Earth, cycles so vast that only multi-generational knowledge systems could track them effectively. Could we be approaching another civilization-defining moment in these grand cycles? The most compelling physical evidence for ancient knowledge preservation systems may be the megalithic structures scattered across our planet. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, carbon dated to approximately 9,600 BCE, features sophisticated astronomical alignments that shouldn't exist according to conventional archaeological timelines. Its most enigmatic feature, Pillar 43, the Vulture Stone, appears to record the cosmic event that triggered the Younger Dryas period through a series of animal carvings precisely aligned with zodiac constellations. Statistical analysis suggests a 1 in 5 million chance that these astronomical correlations are coincidental. Similar precision appears in structures worldwide, from the Great Pyramid of Giza, whose dimensions encode mathematical constants and astronomical alignments, to the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient Greek analog computer designed to predict astronomical positions with remarkable accuracy. Even the mysterious Moai statues of Easter Island may serve as markers for freshwater sources or territorial boundaries, preserving crucial survival information. These monuments share common characteristics. They're built to survive millennia. They encode complex information in redundant symbolic systems, and they often align with astronomical phenomena tied to natural cycles. If human civilization does indeed follow cyclical patterns of advancement and collapse, These stone messengers stand as testament to our ancestors' determination to transmit knowledge across dark ages. They speak a universal language of mathematics, astronomy, and symbolism that transcends cultural and linguistic barriers. What message do they hold for our civilization today? If human civilization does follow cyclical patterns, where are we positioned in the current cycle? The Hindu tradition places us in Kali Yuga, the age of darkness and spiritual decline that began around 3102 BCE. According to some interpretations, we're approaching its conclusion, to be followed by a new Satya Yuga, a golden age of truth and spiritual enlightenment. Astronomical cycles provide a potential scientific framework for these transitions. The precession of Earth's axis creates a 25,920-year cycle as our planet wobbles like a spinning top, slowly changing which stars mark our celestial poles. This great year divides into 12 approximately 2,160-year ages, corresponding to zodiacal constellations. Some researchers suggest we're transitioning from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, a shift reflected in various cultural and religious prophecies about endings and new beginnings. Could ancient Messiah narratives encode knowledge of these astronomical transitions? The recurring theme of celestial signs accompanying savior figures, from the Star of Bethlehem to similar phenomena in other traditions, suggests an intentional connection between cosmic cycles and spiritual renewal. If previous civilization cycles ended through catastrophic events like comet impacts or extreme climate shifts, what might trigger the next transition? And how might we better prepare than our ancestors? Perhaps the universal Messiah concept isn't about waiting for divine intervention, but recognizing our responsibility to preserve knowledge through whatever transitions lie ahead. Beyond stone monuments and religious texts, could there be another, more intimate vehicle for transmitting ancestral knowledge across time? Recent advances in epigenetics suggest that trauma and environmental adaptations can affect gene expression and potentially be inherited by future generations. Studies of Holocaust survivors and their descendants have identified specific epigenetic changes associated with trauma that appear in subsequent generations. This raises a provocative question. Could our universal Messiah archetypes reflect information encoded not just in culture, but in our very biology? Carl Jung proposed the concept of the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of experiences and archetypes inherited from our ancestors. Modern research in evolutionary psychology suggests certain fears and preferences may indeed be genetically programmed rather than individually learned. If our ancestors experienced civilization-ending catastrophes, could the psychological imprint of these events be carried in our genes? This might explain the remarkable consistency of flood myths, apocalyptic narratives, and savior figures across independent cultures. The universal hope for a Messiah may represent an evolutionary adaptation, a psychological mechanism that helped our ancestors survive through periods of extreme hardship by maintaining hope for future renewal. Whether viewed through a spiritual or scientific lens, these patterns suggest we carry the echoes of our ancestors' experiences within us. Their triumphs and traumas, their knowledge and their warnings may be whispering to us through channels we're only beginning to understand. What ancient wisdom might be encoded in your own genetic memory? Throughout this exploration, we've examined evidence suggesting that human civilization might follow cyclical patterns, with Messiah figures serving as knowledge preservation systems during transitional periods. But this raises a profound question. Are we destined to repeat these cycles indefinitely? Or can we transcend them? Modern technology offers unprecedented capabilities for knowledge preservation. Digital archives, cloud storage, and even physical time capsules like the Memory of Mankind project, which stores information on ceramic tablets designed to last 1,000,000 years, represent attempts to safeguard our collective wisdom against future catastrophes. We began this journey exploring the curious similarities between Messiah figures across diverse religious traditions. We've examined evidence suggesting these archetypes might encode knowledge about cyclical patterns in human civilization, patterns potentially tied to cosmic events, climate shifts, and our collective evolutionary history. From the astronomical alignments of Göbekli Tepe to the worldwide distribution of flood myths, from the Hindu concept of Yugas to modern theories about cosmic impacts, a consistent theme emerges. Human history may not be the linear progression we often assume, but rather a series of cycles involving advancement, catastrophe, and renewal. The universal Messiah archetype, viewed through this lens, represents our ancestors' sophisticated attempt to preserve crucial knowledge across dark ages, embedding astronomical, mathematical, and survival information within compelling narratives designed to endure generations. Whether you interpret these patterns through a spiritual or scientific framework, their implications are equally profound. They suggest we are not the first advanced civilization to walk this earth, nor will we be the last. They hint that the challenges we face today, climate change, resource depletion, societal division, may be part of larger cycles our ancestors also navigated. Most importantly, they remind us that knowledge preservation is a sacred responsibility. In an age of unprecedented information but diminishing wisdom, perhaps the true Messiah is the awakening of our collective memory, the recognition that we carry within us the experiences, insights, and warnings of countless generations before us. What will you do with this inheritance? How will you honor the messengers of the past while preparing for the cycles yet to come?